Section 46 of Library of the World's Best Literature, Ancient and Modern, Volume 1. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information, or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recorded by Ken Sterry. Library of the World's Best Literature, Ancient and Modern, Volume 1. Section 46. Selected Poems by William Allingham. 1828 to 1889. Each form of verse has, in addition to its laws of structure, a subtle quality as difficult to define as the perfume of a flower. The poem An Evening, given below, may be classified both as a song and as a lyric, yet it needs no music other than its own rhythms, and the full close to each verse which falls upon the ear like a soft and final chord ending a musical composition. A light touch and a feeling for shades of meaning are required to execute such dainty verse. In St. Margaret's Eve, and in many other ballads, Allingham expresses the broader, more dramatic sweep of the ballad, and reveals his Celtic ancestry. The lovable Irishman, William Allingham, worked hard to enter the brotherhood of poets. When he was only 14, his father took him from school to become a clerk in the town bank of which he himself was manager. The books which he had to keep for the next 7 years were not those on which his heart was set, says Mr. George Birkbeck Hill, but this fortune is almost an inevitable part, and probably not the worst part, of the training for a literary vocation. And he justified his ambitions by pluckily studying alone till he had mastered Greek, Latin, French, and German. Mr. Hill, in his Letters of D.G. Rossetti, Atlantic Monthly, May, 1896, thus quotes Allingham's own delightful description of his early home at Ballyshannon, County Donegal. The little old town where I was born has a voice of its own, low, solemn, persistent, humming through the air day and night, summer and winter. Whenever I think of that town, I seem to hear the voice. The river which makes it rolls over rocky ledges into the tide. Before spreads a great ocean in sunshine or storm, behind stretches a many-islanded lake. On the south runs a wavy line of blue mountains, and on the north, over green rocky hills rise peaks of a more distant range. The trees hide in glens or cluster near the river. Gray rocks and boulders lie scattered about the windy pastures. The sky arches wide over all, giving room to multitudes of stars by night, and long processions of clouds blown from the sea, but also, in the childish memory where these pictures live, to deeps of celestial blue in the endless days of summer. An odd, out-of-the-way little town, ours, on the extreme western edge of Europe. Our next neighbors, Sunset Way, being citizens of the great New Republic, which indeed, to our imagination, seemed little, if at all, farther off than England in the opposite direction. Of the cottage in which he spent most of his childhood and youth he writes, "Opposite the hall door a good-sized walnut tree leaned its wrinkled stem towards the house, and brushed some of the second-story panes with its broad, fragrant leaves. To sit at that little upper window when it was open to a summer twilight, and the great tree rustled gently and sent one leafy spray so far that it even touched my face, was an enchantment beyond all telling. Killarney, Switzerland, Venice could not, in later life, come near it. On 3 sides the cottage looked on flowers and branches, which I count as one of the fortunate chances of my childhood, the sense of natural beauty thus receiving its due share of nourishment, and of a kind suitable to those early years." At last a position in the customs presented itself. In the spring of 1846, I gladly took leave forever of discount ledgers and current accounts, and went to Belfast for 2 months' instruction in the duties of Principal Coast Officer of Customs, a tolerably well-sounding title, but which carried with it a salary of but £80 a year. I trudged daily about the docks and timber yards, learning to measure logs, piles of planks, and, more troublesome, ships for tonnage. Indoors, part of the time practiced customs book-keeping, and talked to the clerks about literature and poetry in a way that excited some astonishment, but, on the whole, as I found at parting, a certain degree of curiosity and respect. I preached Tennyson to them. My spare time was mostly spent in reading and haunting booksellers' shops where, I venture to say, I laid out a good deal more than most people, in proportion to my income, and managed to get glimpses of many books which I could not afford or did not care to buy. I enjoyed my new position on the whole, without analysis, as a great improvement on the bank, and for the rest, my inner mind was brimful of love and poetry, and usually all external things appeared trivial save in their relation to it. Of Allingham's early song-writing, his friend Arthur Hughes says, "Rossetti, and I think Allingham himself, told me in the early days of our acquaintance, how in remote Ballyshannon, where he was a clerk in the customs, in evening walks he would hear the Irish girls at their cottage doors singing old ballads, which he would pick up. If they were broken or incomplete, he would add to them or finish them. If they were improper, he would refine them. He could not get them sung till he got the Dublin Connacht of that day to print them, on long strips of blue paper, like old songs, and if about the sea, with the old rough woodcut of a ship on the top. He either gave them away, or they were sold in the neighbourhood. Then, in his evening walks, he had at last the pleasure of hearing some of his own ballads sung at the cottage doors by the blooming lasses, who were quite unaware that it was the author who was passing by." In 1850, Allingham published a small volume of lyrics whose freshness and delicacy seemed to announce a new singer, and 4 years later his Day and Night songs strengthened this impression. Stationed as a revenue officer in various parts of England, he wrote much verse, and published also The Rambles of Patricius Walker, a collection of essays upon his walks through England. Lawrence Bloomfield in Ireland, the tale of a young landlord's efforts to improve the condition of his tenantry, an anthology, Nightingale Valley, 1862, and an excellent collection of English ballads, The Ballad Book, 1865. In 1870 he gladly embraced an opportunity to leave the customs for the position of assistant editor of Fraser's Magazine under Froude, whom he afterwards succeeded as editor. He was now a member of a brilliant literary circle, knew Tennyson, Ruskin, and Carlyle, and was admitted into the warm friendship of the Pre-Raphaelites. But in no way does he reflect the Pre-Raphaelite spirit by which he was surrounded, nor does he write his lyrics in the metres and rhythm of medieval France. He is as oblivious of rondeaux, ballades, and roundels as he is of fair damsels with cygnet necks and full pomegranate lips. He is a child of nature, whose verse is free from all artificial inspiration or expression, and seems to flow easily, clearly, and tenderly from his pen. Some of it errs in being too fanciful. In the flower songs, indeed, he sometimes becomes trivial in his comparison of each English poet to a special flower, but his poetry is usually sincere with an undercurrent of pathos, as in The Ruined Chapel, The Winter Pear, and The Song. For lightness of touch and aerial grace, The Bubble will bear comparison with any verse of its own genre. Robin Redbreast has many delightful lines, and in The Fairies one is taken into the realm of Celtic folklore, which is Allingham's inheritance, where the brownies, the pixies, and the leprechauns trip over the dew-spangled meadows, or dance on the yellow sands, and then vanish away in fantastic mists. Quite different is Lovely Mary Donnelly, which is a sample of the popular songs that made him a favorite in his own country. After his death at Hampstead in 1889, his body was cremated according to his wish, when these lines of his own were read: "Body to purifying flame, soul to the great deep whence it came, leaving a song on earth below, an urn of ashes white as snow." The Ruined Chapel, from Day and Night Songs. By the shore a plot of ground clips a ruined chapel round, buttressed with a grassy mound, where day and night and day go by, and bring no touch of human sound. Washing of the lonely seas, shaking of the guardian trees, piping of the salted breeze, day and night and day go by to the endless tune of these. Or when, as winds and waters keep a hush more dead than any sleep, still mourns to stiller evenings creep, and day and night and day go by, here the silence is most deep. The empty ruins, lapsed again into nature's wide domain, sow themselves with seed and grain, as day and night and day go by, and hoard June's sun and April's rain. Here fresh funeral tears were shed, now the graves are also dead, and suckers from the ash tree spread, while day and night and day go by, and stars move calmly overhead. The Winter Pear, from Ballads and Songs. Is always age severe? Is never youth austere? Spring fruits are sour to eat, autumn's the mellow time. Nay, very late in the year, short day and frosty rime, thought, like a winter pear, stone cold in summer's prime, may turn from harsh to sweet. Song, from Day and Night Songs. O spirit of the summer time, bring back the roses to the dells, the swallow from her distant clime, the honey bee from drowsy cells. Bring back the friendship of the sun, the gilded evenings calm and late, when weary children homeward run, and peeping stars bid lovers wait. Bring back the singing and the scent of meadow lands at dewy prime. O bring again my heart's content, thou spirit of the summer time. The Bubble, from Ballads and Songs. See the pretty planet, floating sphere, faintest breeze will fan it, far or near. World as light as feather, moonshine rays, rainbow tints together, as it plays. Drooping, sinking, failing, nigh to earth, mounting, whirling, sailing, full of mirth. Life there, welling, flowing, waving round, pictures coming, going, without sound. Quick now, be this airy globe repelled, never can the fairy star be held. Touched, it in a twinkle disappears, leaving but a sprinkle as of tears. St. Margaret's Eve, from Ballads and Songs. I built my castle upon the seaside, the waves roll so gaily oh, half on the land and half in the tide, love me true. Within was silk, without was stone, the waves roll so gaily oh, it lacks a queen, and that alone, love me true. The grey old harper sang to me, the waves roll so gaily oh, beware the damsel of the sea, love me true. St. Margaret's Eve it did befall, the waves roll so gaily oh, the tide came creeping up the wall, love me true. I opened my gate, who there should stand? The waves roll so gaily oh, but a fair lady with a cup in her hand, love me true. The cup was gold and full of wine, the waves roll so gaily oh, drink, said the lady, and I will be thine, love me true. Enter my castle, lady fair, the waves roll so gaily oh, you shall be queen of all that's there, love me true. A grey old harper sang to me, the waves roll so gaily oh, beware the damsel of the sea, love me true. In hall he harpeth many a year, the waves roll so gaily oh, and we will sit his song to hear, love me true. I love thee deep, I love thee true, the waves roll so gaily oh, but ah, I know not how to woo, love me true. Down dashed the cup with sudden shock, the waves roll so gaily oh, the wine like blood ran over the rock, love me true. She said no word, but shrieked aloud, the waves roll so gaily oh, and vanished away from where she stood, love me true. I locked and barred my castle door, the waves roll so gaily oh, 3 summer days I grieved sore, love me true. For myself a day and night, the waves roll so gaily oh, and 2 to moan that lady bright, love me true. The Fairies, a Child's Song, from Ballads and Songs. Up the airy mountain, down the rushy glen, we daren't go a-hunting for fear of little men. Wee folk, good folk, trooping all together, green jacket, red cap, and white owl's feather. Down along the rocky shore some have made their home. They live on crispy pancakes of yellow tide foam. Some in the reeds of the black mountain lake, with frogs for their watchdogs, all night awake. High on the hilltop the old king sits. He is now so old and gray, he's nigh lost his wits. With a bridge of white mist, Columkill he crosses, on his stately journeys from Slive League to Rosses. Or going up with music on cold starry nights, to sup with the queen of the gay northern lights. They stole little Bridget for 7 years long. When she came down again, her friends were all gone. They took her lightly back, between the night and morrow. They thought that she was fast asleep, but she was dead with sorrow. They have kept her ever since, deep within the lakes, on a bed of flag leaves, watching till she wakes. By the craggy hillside, through the mosses bare, they have planted thorn trees for pleasure here and there. Is any man so daring as dig them up in spite? He shall feel their sharpest thorns in his bed at night. Up the airy mountain, down the rushy glen, we daren't go hunting for fear of little men. Wee folk, good folk, trooping all together, green jacket, red cap, and white owl's feather. Robin Redbreast, a child's song. From Ballads and Songs. Goodbye, goodbye to summer, for summer's nearly done. The garden's smiling faintly, cool breezes in the sun. Our thrushes now are silent, our swallows flown away. But Robin's here in coat of brown, with ruddy breast not gay. Robin, Robin Redbreast, oh Robin dear, Robin singing sweetly in the falling of the year. Bright yellow, red, and orange, the leaves come down in hosts. The trees are Indian princes, but soon they'll turn to ghosts. The scanty pears and apples hang russet on the bough. It's autumn, autumn, autumn late, 'twill soon be winter now. Robin, Robin Redbreast, oh Robin dear, and well away, my Robin, for pinching times are near. The fireside for the cricket, the wheat stack for the mouse, when trembling night winds whistle and moan all round the house. The frosty ways like iron, the branches plumed with snow. Alas, in winter dead and dark, where can poor Robin go? Robin, Robin Redbreast, oh Robin dear, and a crumb of bread for Robin, his little heart to cheer. An Evening, from Day and Night Songs. Sunset's mounded cloud, a diamond evening star, sad blue hills afar, love in his shroud. Scarcely a tear to shed, hardly a word to say. The end of a summer's day, sweet love is dead. Daffodil, from Flower Pieces. Gold tassel upon March's bugle horn, whose blithe reveille blows from hill to hill, and every valley rings. O daffodil! What promise for the season newly born? Shall wave on wave of flowers, full tide of corn o'erflow the world, then fruited autumn fill hedgerow and garth? Shall tempest, blight, or chill turn all felicity to scathe and scorn? Tantarara! The book of spring lies open, writ in blossoms. Not a bird of evil augury is seen or heard. Come now, like Pan's old crew, we'll dance and sing, or Oberon's, for hill and valley ring to March's bugle horn. Earth's blood is stirred. Lovely Mary Donnelly, to an Irish tune. From Ballads and Songs. Oh, lovely Mary Donnelly, it's you I love the best. If 50 girls were round you, I'd hardly see the rest. Be what it may, the time of day, the place be where it will, sweet looks of Mary Donnelly, they bloom before me still. Her eyes like mountain water that's flowin' on a rock. How clear they are, how dark they are, and they give me many a shock. Red rowans warm in sunshine, and wetted with a shower, could ne'er express the charming lip that has me in its power. Her nose is straight and handsome, her eyebrows lifted up, her chin is very neat and pert, and smooth like a china cup. Her hair's the brag of Ireland, so weighty and so fine, it's rollin' down upon her neck, and gathered in a twine. The dance o' last Whit Monday night exceeded all before. No pretty girls for miles about was missin' from the floor. But Mary kept the belt of love, and oh, but she was gay! She danced a jig, she sung a song that took my heart away. When she stood up for dancin', her steps were so complete, the music nearly killed itself to listen to her feet. The fiddler moaned his blindness, he heard her so much praised, but blessed himself he wasn't deaf when once her voice was raised. And evermore I'm whistlin' or liltin' what you sung. Your smile is always in my heart, your name beside my tongue. But you've as many sweethearts as you could count on both your hands, and for myself there's not a thumb or little finger stands. Oh, you're the flower o' womankind in country or in town. The higher I exalt you, the lower I'm cast down. If some great lord should come this way and see your beauty bright, and you to be his lady, I'd own it was but right. Oh, might we live together in a lofty palace hall, where joyful music rises and where scarlet curtains fall. Oh, we might live together in a cottage mean and small, with sods of grass the only roof and mud the only wall. Oh, lovely Mary Donnelly, your beauty's my distress. It's far too beauteous to me, but I'll never wish it less. The proudest place would fit your face, and I am poor but low. But blessings be about you, dear, wherever you may go. End of section 46. Recording by Ken Sterry.